So we're on this journey from the book by Paramahansa Yogananda, How to Be Happy All the Time. We've been looking at that all for about 5, I think this is week number 6 if I'm not mistaken. And you can't be happy all the time. So let's just put the illusion aside. Why can't you be happy all the time? Because there's always going to be contrast. Because contrast is an essential requirement for growth, and growth is an essential requirement for who we are. We were never meant to be stagnant. We were never meant to be the same. We were never meant to be anything other than growing, continually expanding in our awareness, expressions of the infinite, which means we have an infinite number of ways we can express. But it'd be a lot easier if we were on this journey and we took in some ideas of how do we do this more effectively and better. Today we're going to be doing this, that you can't be happy all the time without sharing your happiness with others. Because then it goes into this idea, and those of you who are familiar with me, my radio show Self-Love Through Conscious Living, it's my whole purpose statement. But you see, self-love through conscious living cannot be self-love if it's not embodying everyone that's with you. Because if you are accepting yourself as you are, seeing your wholeness, your whole perfection and everything, then in order for you to do that, you've got to be able to switch over here and you've got to be able to accept everyone else. You see, that's what love is. Love is not romance. Love is acceptance. And when we can accept someone, we can then make a determination whether we want to have a relationship with them. Now, there are many forms of relationship. Sometimes it could be with our family. Do we want to have a relationship, for example, with my brother when he was alive? And I made a conscious choice for the last 20 years of no. Because my brother was the most toxic human being in the world. I didn't want that negative energy in my world, and so I allowed him to be blessed wherever he was. I didn't have to be a part of him. I didn't owe anything there. That's hard for you to hear at times, because we've been so taught that we have a special allegiance, a special bond. Yeah, you've been taught that, and that's just a habit of thinking. You get to choose where you have your relationships. Interesting that right before my brother died, I was the person he called to come and take care of his affairs before he did. And I gladly accepted it. And I did it out of love and acceptance. And when I went to be with him in Maui to do this, I had to do a lot of prayer work and understand that I had to put aside what I wanted to do, what I wanted to experience, because I knew he was suffering from terminal cancer. He was in extreme pain, more emotional than physical pain, and that I'm going to be the closest person to him there. I'm going to experience all this stuff coming at me, right? Exactly what happened. And it never bothered me. And then I remember, on the last day I was there, my brother looked at me and said, "What's this crap about meditation? Why do you do that?" See, Ron was a PhD scientist. He was an academician. He had that logical mind. And I said, "Well, Ron, when I went to India the first time, and I was taking this trek in the middle of the night in the Himalayas with my brother Niranjan and a guide, we were so in fear that I came out of my body and I watched myself and I didn't have any fear." He says, "What do you mean you came out of your body?" I said, I just felt my consciousness rise above and I was looking down at myself going through the motions. And he said to me, "I've never had anything like that." I said, "Well, have you ever intended to?" He said, "No." And then, about 7 days later, I got a call that my brother had died. And the woman who had been caretaking with him the night before said, "You know, the night before, your brother was sitting here and he said, there's a man up in the corner." said, what's he look like? He said, he's a nice man. And he went to sleep. He got his peace. And he moved. We never know how it's going to happen for us. So your desire to be happy must include the desire for the same happiness to be with others. Because you can't be selfish. It's an infinite universe. The second you think that only you can be happy, you're denying the very essence of the universe, which is infinite. The universe says, Lee, you can be infinitely happy, and no matter how happy you are, everybody else can be as happy or even happier. We are never confined. So it's never about who has more. Remember, who has more? What you have does not make you happy. Who you are makes you happy. That's the real critical thing. It's not the possessions we have. It's who are you in when you have the possessions. Are you attached to them? Or are you just, hey, it's part of my life. It's cool. You'll find that all of the very seemingly well-adjusted millionaires or billionaires, they understand it's not having the stuff. The stuff is nice, but it's not that at all. It's who you become while you create the stuff. Who you become. As you create the stuff, you become the man or the woman who has a consciousness that attracts that to you because you've done the work with your thoughts, your words, your actions, and your feelings. You've aligned up all of the potentiality within you. You've lined up all the modalities through which you can express, and you said, I'm going with it, and you stay with it until it demonstrates in your life. When you do that, you're happy. When two selfish individuals become formally united in matrimony, they will be separated mentally as long as each of them is walled off by self-love. Do you see that? That's real common in almost every marriage today. It's that you have two selfish individuals thinking, I'm going to go with this person. My God, she's a hottie. She's going to make me that much better. No. You go into a relationship knowing that you are whole and perfect as you are, and that person is whole and perfect as they are, and there's no need for anyone to fulfill and be a better half to make them whole. That's the illusion. All the romantic songs that I grew up with teach that illusion. Oh my God. I go back and I start to listen to all the songs that I rock to. They're really negative with their words. They're building a consciousness. Self-love is never self-confining. Did you get that? Self-love means love of self. Love of self means knowing of self. Knowing of self means you know that you're part of the infinite. When you know that you're part of the infinite and loving yourself as part of the infinite, you are never self-confining because you realize there's always more. People who actually do find happiness in marriage don't find their happiness from one another. Always it comes from within themselves. I don't find my happiness in my wife at all. She's just a partner. We share a journey together. But my happiness is what I bring. Because it's only what I bring that I can feel. I can't feel what she's feeling. I can't feel what my mother felt, my father felt, my kids felt. I can't feel that. I only can feel what I'm feeling. So if I'm the only one that can feel what I'm feeling, and it's my perception of what they're doing that causes me to have that feeling, then I know my perception is also something I control. Therefore, it doesn't matter what they do, but it's how I perceive what they do gives me my experience. So again, what does it come back to? I am the creator of my experience, not yours. You are the creator of your own experience. How sad it is to see that people going through this because they're based expectations on the happiness of others. So I was doing a session yesterday. I didn't normally do it. It was someone that I've known, not through Agape in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to say how. But I did my radio show yesterday. I got myself all my big boy pants on, drove out there and did my radio show. And then afterwards, I did a 2-hour session with this couple who was really struggling. Walked them through the whole values process, self-love process, walked them through the process of love languages, walked them through the process of agreements, walked them through everything that I felt was there. Got done, I said, how do you feel? He says, I don't feel any better than when I came in. Well, tell me why. Well, she's the number one thing in my life, but she won't give me the attention. And I looked at her. I said, he's the number 2 thing in your life. This is their values. Number 2 thing. Are you giving him attention? When I can, I got 2 kids. And I'm sitting there, listening. And I'm saying, you've got to find a way to get a date. I start this with every young couple that has kids. You've got to have a date night. You've got to have a night with no talk about kids, no talk about work. Talk about things that are relevant to you. Finish that up, everything was cool. Go out to the parking lot. They're in the parking lot. He rolls down the window, says something to me, and I found it real interesting. I said for her to roll down the window, and she was on the phone talking to a girlfriend. And I said, so let me be the clearer of how you see your life. Right now, if you truly believe that you want her attention and you want to give him your attention, you're sitting in a car together, you have no children, put down the phone and be with your husband. You take off the sports channel and listen to your wife. We become numb to our habits. And we don't think what's really important to us. And they were both just flabbergasted. You could see I caught them, their mouths just dropped. That was my intention. I wanted to show how they were not living what they thought they were. Most of the time, we are not living what we think we're living. We're living an illusion that we're having it. So here's how you know if you're living an illusion. If you don't have what you want in your life, then you're living an illusion that you have it. Because if you have it, you're living it. It's that simple. As a person advances spiritually and discovers joy and divine insight within themselves, they naturally wish that they could find ways to bring their glowing sense of happiness and well-being to all of humankind. The more I study self-love through conscious living, the more I do. I can't wait for more mediums to talk. I mean, we got the holistic, Plano Holistic Fair coming up in a couple weeks on Sunday. After service, I'm bopping off over there. I'm going to give an hour talk on it again. I'm going to get to meet with people. The more I can do about what I love to do, the more joy that I've got. And the more joy that I've got, I'm bringing joy to the world. Isn't that the greatest way we can give our gift? Question is, what is it you do that gives you great joy, and how can you do more of it and touch more people's lives? And yet we must learn to deal with things the way they are, as others may not be available and ready to accept our gift. Do you hear that? This is the sucky one. Because we'll say, I want this, but I want my wife to have this as well. No. She or he may not be available and ready to accept that gift. You see, we're all on our unique path. We're all doing it in our own unique way. And no one knows what's the right way for another person. Nobody knows. The longer and longer I become a minister, I fully embrace and honor every human life I touch, because I realize every one of them is on a unique path. And there's nothing more perfect in the world than their path. Here, get a load of this. This is going to make you really happy. There's not a right path, and there's not a wrong path. Do you hear that? There's not a right path, and there's not a wrong path. There's your path. The question is, what are you going to choose? Or are you going to stay on the same path? See, the same path just takes you down to the same place. Why would you want to go to the same place all the time? It's boring. Life is about getting more juice, trying new things, testing it, being better at something. When you find something that makes you feel so happy, you can't wait to share it with someone else. I know a beautiful woman, and she had an experience last week where she had a shamanic breath experience, and she couldn't wait to share it because she found such joy in that experience. It was only natural for her to want to share it with others. That's what joy is. What do you want to share today? Do you want to share about your boyfriend who's yada yada yada-ing? Or your girlfriends who are yada yada yada-ing? Or the politics that is yada yada yada-ing? You see, it's all a bunch of yada yada. The Seinfeld's got this really down. It's all a bunch of yada yada because you get to put whatever you want on it. So the question is, create your own channel. And you choose what you put in your channel, who you allow on your channel. Pretend it's, remember when Kramer had his own radio show? He set up the big, scene, the platform, the staging in his apartment, and he would call in Jerry and Elaine would be his guests, and he'd be sitting behind the thing, and he created his whole talk shows. Well, you're creating your own talk show too. The question is, what do you want to talk about? Who do you want to talk about it with? And you start making conscious choices. And when you start sharing your gifts, people are going to flock to you. They're going to flock, and you're going to have the greatest life ever. So let's go within and let's pray.
I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.